So Miss Anaïs Pouquet is here with me today, who is a teacher. She teaches one of the classes. She actually taught the very first class at the school. And she is here to provide a more technical, on-the-ground experience, as I am in charge of the research and the development strategy, as we are looking to develop a network of French schools. Isabelle is the head teacher of our current school, and Anaïs is here today to answer any questions regarding the logistics of the school and the teaching.
Est-ce que vous pouvez traduire cette phrase?
At school, precociousness is not a strength but a handicap. So this is something that the idea that precociousness is not a strength is something that, alongside Isabelle, we noticed in our own children. We have 7 children, 5 of whom are intellectually precocious. Some of them get along well at school. They have the spirit of competition. That means that they can get along well in the ordinary French school system. Some of them are ahead of their class. And these are some figures that you are probably familiar with. 2.3% of the population has an IQ over 130, with no distinction with regards to their social, cultural background. That means that one child in every class is intellectually precocious. To go through the PowerPoint, 2 pupils out of 3 have difficulties at school. 1 in 3 have to retake a class. 1 in 5 children will never study after their A-levels. Only 2 out of 5 children will go further than 2 years of study after their A-levels. Suicide attempts are 3 times more frequent amongst precocious adolescents. So it's these figures and the fact that we are both mothers that led us to create this project. We did not create the school just for our kids. Our children are not taught at these schools, mainly because they are still in primary school. But it's because of our children that we became aware of these problems. Isabelle is 40 years old. She's a mother of 4 children, 3 of which are precocious. She has spent 10 years in a family company working with leather, and she has always wanted to create a project with children. She visited the Georges Gustave school in Paris, which is a school that accepts intellectually precocious children. With regards to myself, I have 2 children, one of which is intellectually precocious. For 7 years, I was working in the audiovisual sector and always wanted to set up a project in a charitable and social project. So we've been friends for 15 years now, and we've always wanted to start a project together. It was Isabelle's visit to the Georges Gustave school that set things in motion. We have both been working full-time on the project since 2009, and we complement each other. Our different areas of expertise are complementary, our different experiences and our different personalities mean that we work together very well. So the problems become apparent in intellectually precocious children when they start reaching secondary school. We thought that it was a real waste to wait for the problems to occur in secondary school, and that the time to start acting is in primary school. And so from primary school, we help them to fulfill their real potential. But the idea is not for the children to be excluded from the normal school system. The idea is to give them the tools to be able to reintegrate the school system correctly. As I fully agree with the previous speakers on how important it is to address the problems and find solutions through connected thinking in making connections that we might otherwise not have done. So we have three main objectives. The objective is to set up a network of schools that are accessible to all, to make progress in practices, and to provide a place of resources. In France, any new school that opens is obligatory, completely private for a year. That means that the tuition is paid entirely by the parents. In our project, we have been lucky in that a third of our students can receive grants, as the fees are 6,000 euros per child per year. And it is particularly important that the school be available to all, as precociousness is not a question of social background. So, in terms of progressing with the practices, it is about better training teachers, increasing awareness about precociousness, and the importance of treating any potential problems directly from primary school onwards. In terms of a place of resources, we do not intend to do the same as what other associations have done, but we would like to bring the actors together to regroup pedagogical information, particularly on our website, arborescence.com. So the project has been going for 2 years now, as the first pilot school was opened in 2009. Of course, this kind of a project does not get on its feet in a day. Arborescence is supported by ESSEC. They provide help with the project, with establishing the business plan, the economic model, the development strategy, and in determining our 5-year goals. So our 5-year goal is to have 5 schools open by 2014, and the year 2014 corresponds to the time when the tuition fees can be dropped, when the government will provide subsidies. The first schools would be in the Parisian region, in the Île-de-France. The first one will be in the region of Yvelines. This is for logistical reasons, so that we can both be present on at the schools. So there will be 3 schools in Île-de-France and 2 outside of the Parisian area in the rest of France. Each school will house no more than 45 children, which consists of 3 classes of 15 pupils, but most classes will actually only have 10 children. They will be divided up into different levels. There will be children from 5 to 10 years old, and they will be divided up according to their intellectual level. The gentleman then posed the question about the multi-level idea, and Anaïs will then elaborate on this further when she talks about the network. So in what way is our school different from others? Well, it is really based around the child, and based on the development of their own potential, but most importantly, the idea is that the child then reintegrates the French national school system. Our main objective is that the child is not definitively marginalized, is not definitively out of the French school system. We look to for them to reintegrate the system after primary school. We have some classes for the first 2 years of secondary school, but this is usually just for children that have come to us late, and we cannot perform miracles in 1 or 2 years, and so we will take them on for slightly longer. Question from the gentleman was, Ideally, the most important period is from age 7 to 14. So the ideal would be to keep the children in the school until they are 14, and then they will have the strength to face the normal French school system. And yes, that would be the ideal. Whether it be from 5 to 12 or 7 to 14, in any case, they can't take them on too early because of the way that the classes are designed. But the main thing is that the children have the tools and the abilities to be able to deal with the fact that they are different in the normal French school system. The idea that they can say to themselves, yes, I am different, but we're all different. And they need to realize that their precociousness can be a gift, and if they manage to use it correctly. And we can detect any disorders that before they reintegrate to the French school system. Taking all of these factors into consideration, and then the child can really succeed at school. Children that find it difficult up to A levels afterwards can go on to some of the most prestigious universities in France. We intend to develop their artistic abilities, their creativity, and their other abilities. So in terms of the partners that are involved in the project, I mentioned Antropia with ESSEC. There is also the mayor of the region of our pilot school, who has had played a very decisive role in the project. There is also the National Education Department and for Innovation, and the Psychological Medical Center of Noisy-le-Grand, who is the first center to have a specific consultation for intellectually precocious children. They validate our specific teaching methods and monitor some of our children. If we have any doubts on detecting any particular disorders, then they will help us out, and we are in a partnership with them, above all because it is a free service and that they can help the parents. Also, another organization called CIDEL. CIDEL is an organization that works with children, helping them to empathize. It works with children all over the world, and we will be starting a program with them from September. It is a 3-year program where they teach children how to empathize and to develop their wisdom. I would encourage you to visit their website, which is cidel.org. So with regards to the pilot school, to give you a few figures, we have been working with 3 private schools in Île-de-France, in the Parisian region. We have worked with 7 different schools, one in particular.
Joinville-à-Charcot.
Thank you. And this school in particular has very few places, and so will only take the worst cases, the children with the most irreversible damage, for example. So our first class opened in 2009. We opened the second class a year later, and this year we have decided to stick to just 2 classes, as I will be absent for a good part of the year. We accommodate 26 children, and not